Hello again and welcome back to Elder Scrolls Legends.
Narafin.
Well, well, the Emperor himself. Come to... what? Duel me? You think you can stop me, is that it? Fool. Look around you. The culling has begun. I will unleash the fires of oblivion tonight, after I've added your body to the pyre.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with try Imperial Might. I'm pretending to be the king. Let's use the Imperial Might. If this is anything like it was before the NDA was lifted and before that reset, this guy is basically just an asshole. And broken as shit too. Well, not broken, but more of just kind of a dick. Oh, that's great. That's great. I remember when I played this previously, one of the problems with this guy, mostly just that his AI is so much better than that of the previous levels of the game.
Your claws. The waters of life.
So he actually does good things and plays smart and isn't completely idiot.
Kazit is not amused. Kazit is not
Seed
amused.
and spleen.
Your orders.
Well, that sucks.
Kazit is not amused. Kazit is not amused.
Into the breach. I hear and obey.
He's just gonna face that. It's gonna hurt.
The waters of life.
Acknowledge. I hear and obey.
Now, what I'm hoping is that he'll just run that into the 1-1, because he can't really dot, which will then let me be able to take him out with my 8-8 without having to double tap with the 8-8.
Weak fool!
This guy have 10 mana.
Who goes there? I live to serve.
I don't want to use this, the Edict, yet, because I know he has a card that is extremely powerful, and I don't want to risk him throwing that out after.
Come out where I can see you. Such might! You're not the Emperor! You're the one who killed Reeve!
Especially when I have a decently good chance of actually being able to survive, or win, without doing so at the moment.
Into the breach.
Yes, this is what I was talking about. It's a 5/7. It doesn't sound like it's too big a deal, but because it can, like, every time it takes damage, you gain that much health, it can be a big
Kill them all.
Acknowledged.
Elements, I summon thee.
thing. It would be best to kill her off.
There's a plan. There's always a plan.
All will be lost.
You won't escape alive.
We are ready for anything.
I don't
Kill
have
them all.
lethal yet.
Kill them all.
That doesn't they don't really seem scary enough to concern myself too much yet.
Into the breach!
And I think he's used up all 3 of his health, of those, like, +5
I am
health
the
cards.
emptiness at the center of your hope.
Curse you!
See, I can do 6 damage here. So I can actually just win.
Stendarr defend us.
Acknowledged.
Stendarr defend us.
That was some pretty good card draw there. Awesome. Level 9 too.
And so, the city was saved. The people hailed the Emperor as a hero, little suspecting who their true savior was. The forgotten hero quietly left the city, little realizing that even greater adventures were yet to come. But that is a story for another evening.
How is this supposed to help us? Our war chief is dying. We need more than stories. We need...
What you need is hope. I saw your war chief fight today in that ferocious mask of hers. As I think of it, it could have been anyone out there. It could have been...
me.
Let's you and I pay our respects at the command tent. I have the strangest feeling that the war chief is about to make a miraculous recovery.
Okay. So let's go ahead and open rewards first. So beat the story mode, a deck, or a card pack, a deck, some soul gems, and an evolution. So divine convictions upgrades to divine favor or fervor, which we already had a couple of divine fervor cards, so that's actually not bad. And another deck or pack. So let's go ahead and open all these since it took us straight here. Let's see here. This card's kind of nice. It's a kind of shitty card for its cost, but draw a random Arterant. I am not going to try saying that word again. I suck at it. And like some of those are pretty good cards. The fire ones, like a 5/3 with breakthrough. The storm, like we saw the ice ones, like a 5/5 I think with guard, and the storm one has ward. They're pretty good cards all in all. Everything else in here, we've seen. I think we have everything else in here. Maybe not the Templar, but we saw him. We went against him. And yeah, they're all pretty good cards. Like, nothing amazing, just good. Okay. We've got that card pretty good. Calm, give a creature -4 attack for a round. That's not too bad. This card is interesting. You get to move a card into another lane, so extremely useful. And there aren't a lot of the cards that do that. I mean, so it's nice. The Savage, we saw this in the Goblin deck. It's not too bad. Other than that, everything's pretty normal. The Ferocious Drow, or Dre, or whatever, is pretty nice. Tome of Alteration, I do like this card. I have one in my deck right now. It's a really nice card. The Nimble Ally, this dude is a bitch and should get shot. He never works. He's actually a really great card if it works. The problem, so if you have like a pure green deck, boom, #1 card. Not really, but up there. Like, he is up there. 4/4 for 3 with lethal. But if it's a chance, I mean, he's a 3/3 for 3, and that's, I mean, it's a 3/3 for 3. We just saw one of those in the last pack. This one's pretty nice. The Fate Weaver. Draw a card. If it's a prophecy card, play it for free. And she's a prophecy card as well. So she is a high cost, but you start getting into some of those prophecy decks, like kind of like a secret paladin deck, but a prophecy deck. Like, yeah, she can hit you up hard. And then Piercing Javelin's a nice prophecy. Just a one-shot kill, no questions asked. Let's see here. So these three basic, nice prophecy kill. That charge 4 cost, basically just kill a card. So we have a 4 cost kill a card, 5 cost kill a card, and then give guard. This one we actually went up against in the last one, I think. Maybe? I don't know. We went up against her at some point. Whenever you play an action, she gains +1/+1. No, I think we went up against her with the guy who gave us Gold Brand. Here, Lion Guard. Yeah, when you summon another creature, give it ward. So this guy's great because you can start front loading a bunch of like low health, high damage creatures into his lane. And then the ally, it becomes a 3/5 if you're lucky enough to have a enhance or endurance. So, just out of curiosity, if anybody's curious, the last deck is the Warriors of Hammerfall. It's a strength and intelligence deck, and you can see some of its cards here. So you're looking at a bunch of like pretty decent cards and a lot of equipment as well. And just to go through and click off all these news. That's actually a nice little card right there. Give her a couple, like, especially because you have a couple of like low cost equipment. Like, yeah, you can give her some nice equipment, and it's really nice. That's a pretty nice card, too. Anyway, so when it comes to this game, versus say another card game, it is really hard to pick Legends over say Hearthstone. Actually, that could be pretty nice. Dwemer get plus, like, summon a 0/3 Dwarven Spider. It gains +3, plus this guy gains +3. And he has draw random. That's pretty nice. As I was saying, all in all, what this game offers is almost identical to Hearthstone, except that it's Elder Scrolls. The arena is great. Practice and versus mode are virtually identical. I have a free arena ticket from playing, so I'll probably go through with an arena run. If they add in coined arena runs, I'll probably also do a coined, I'll do another arena run maybe. But if it's gonna just always be cash, like, I mean, no. Just, I can play arena for free on a Hearthstone. And, like, yeah, the arena mode here is kind of cool, or it's kind of different and interesting, but no, like, fuck. I could just play Hearthstone, or I could play Magic the Gathering or something. No problem. Like, I have thousands of Magic the Gathering cards in boxes behind me and under my bed and in my garage. So, like, if it came down to it, like, what would bring you to this game versus Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Hearthstone or any other card game? Mostly the skin. The story mode is great. It's a really interesting story mode and kind of a cool story at that. And at the end they're like, oh yeah, there's more adventures and those are to come. And in Hearthstone they have a very similar thing where it's like, oh yeah, you have the solo story mode and you can keep, like, you can get the Nax Ramus and you can get the League of Explorers and Blackrock Mountain, and coming up is One Night in Karazhan. And, like, those are really cool. And personally, I don't like playing competitive card games. I used to when I was a kid, but as I grew up, and especially, like, I mean, we all like playing those, like, oh yeah, this deck is completely illegal. And, like, when I was a kid, like, back in middle school, I played competitively. Like, I could play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering. I won a couple of local in-town tournaments, and a couple of, like, regional, like, state tournament. Like, well, I didn't win, but I was, like, I placed in regional tournaments, which were, like, just in the state and whatnot. Like, the state and the local area. And that was great when I was a kid. But as I grew up, like, I started seeing some cards. Like, some cards are broken. The fact that if you don't spend, like, $100 on every new card, like, the chances that you'll get a good card, like, oh yeah, well, somebody got a 1/1 or a skeleton that was, oh yeah, it costs 1, it's a 1/1 card, and when you kill it, it can come back for 1. Well, that's a nice card. But then somebody else draws the exact same card, well, almost the exact same card, except it's a 1 mana 2/2 skeleton that you can bring back for 1 mana. And it's like, well, one of those is definitively better. And it's like, yeah, so as I got older and started seeing those, it came a little bit more like, yeah. And with Hearthstone especially, like, comparing this to Hearthstone, Hearthstone just introduced the seasons and the formats. And Magic the Gathering has been doing formats forever. And it's like one of those, like, the best thing in Magic the Gathering to do is when you're shitting around with your friends and you combine, like, oh yeah, here's a Black God card, and here's a bunch of, like, well, here's a card that summons 1/1 zombies every time I summon a creature, and here's another card that summons, or that improves all my zombies and makes them have, like, Death Touch or something. And it's like, yeah, those aren't in the same format, but you can kind of play around with it, be like, yeah, well, I have this one ongoing, like, this one artifact that just summons zombies every time a new card is summoned. And I got 2 of those, so every time a new card's summoned, I summon a zombie. But then I also have a card that does that, and so you get that nice little, like, oh yeah, every time I summon a card, it summons a zombie, which summons a zombie, which summons a zombie, which summons zombies, and I'm summoning 3 zombies every time a zombie comes out, and each of those 3 zombies summon, like, no, like, when you do that to one of your friends, and you have, like, you're sitting there getting drunk, and it's like, that's fun. But, yeah, like, formats and stuff, a card game's a card game. You pick the one you like the flavor of. And the problem with this is, for what we got, if we look over here at the cards
Decks
we
can
don't
use
have,
no more than 3 copies of most cards, and only 1 of each unique.
I have a couple of common cards I can dust. So it's like, if I just look at some of my unowned cards, I'm not gonna count how many cards are in here, but I'm gonna make a guess. There's probably less. Well, like, let's just look at red. Shit, only red, right? Okay. So we go to the top. 1 page, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pages at, what is that, 10 cards a page? So 71 cards in total. Although that's a pretty nice little thing. Like, seriously, I'd summon that thing and use it on itself. A 10-10 for 10 is not too bad. Anyway, as I was saying, so, like, yeah, 71 red cards. If we compared that to, like, Hearthstone, like, comparing that to the warrior cards, well, hell, like, that's nothing. If we look at neutral, 1, 2, 3 and a half. So 35 cards. You should be able to see what I'm saying from here. Like, they're nice. It's a nice little game, but the deck sizes are so small. Like, on the deck sizes, the fact that you can go between 50 and 70 and it's not just 30 cards is nice, but the amount of cards you can pick from, it's hard to set. It's hard to justify, honestly. Like, it's cool that you can get 3 cards, so it's closer to, like, a real competitive card game, but because of that, you're talking longer games. And also, apparently it's called premium instead of gold or whatever. So I own a couple of premium cards, but not a lot. Some of these premium cards have some pretty nice effects on them. Although some of them are just kind of like, oh, it's shiny. At least this guy has snow going. Like, that arrow in this one, like, that's badass. Like, it might make you dizzy a little bit, but that's kind of a badass thing. But it's like, oh no, shiny armor and weapon. It's leather armor! It shouldn't be fucking shiny! Anyway, before I get off on some side rants, the amount of cards there are is sad. Like, it's just too low. And that's one of the problems when you're trying to come into a card game late. Like, when you're trying, like, Magic the Gathering has been around for, like, 20-some years. I think it was 92 or 93 when it came out. So, like, we're talking, like, 93 years, give or take. Like, holy hell. They've put out about, like, 300 cards a year? And they came out with, like, a pretty big set. Like, and every once in a while they'll come out with extras, and they have a couple of those offshoots. Like, there are thousands of Magic the Gathering cards. like, possibly tens of thousands. Let's see. Like, if I just pull out my phone and just say, how many Magic the Gathering cards are there? It doesn't tell. Like, okay, apparently my phone won't tell me. My phone hates me. But still, like, you can get my point. There are so many Magic the Gathering cards. The same with Pokemon. Like, well, hell, remember when Pokemon started? There were 151-ish Pokemon. And now there are, what, 600 some? Yeah, so 600 Pokemon now. There used to be 151. You start adding in all the different items and the variations of items. If you look at the card game, like you look at the energies and the variations of energies, it's evolved over time. Yu-Gi-Oh's the same way. Like, when it started out, it was just kind of a couple of duel monsters. They were cute, they were cool. And you start going into, like, oh yeah, here's some fusions, and here's some, like, cross fusions, and here's some super fusions, and here's some ritual monsters, and here's some hero monsters, and here's some cards that, like, here's star cards that, I don't know what the hell the star cards do. I just saw them in the anime. Like, I saw it was an anime thing, and I saw a couple of them on the street, and I've never picked them up. Like, yeah, so, like, every couple of years they're bringing out new things. And, like, it's nice that you can jump in, and if we go back to the deck, see if I can look for, like, can I search for, so, like, you have, like, oh, no, sorry. There should be a question mark here. It's like, we go down, drain, deals damage, returns health, guard, last gasp. That should be renamed as something. Death rattle was nice. Last gasp. It's just weird to say. Lethal, pilfer, prophecy. Like, these are all things that, like, took Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon years to start picking up. Like, I remember back when, like, what was it? Death Touch wasn't a thing. When Death Touch was, when this card, or whenever this card deals damage, it destroys the enemy monster. And over time, they've evolved, and they've shorthanded, and they come out with new things all the time. You have, like, inspiration for, Hearthstone. Yu-Gi-Oh! You have, like, the level cards. In Pokemon, you get evolutions and mega evolutions. In Digimon, you have Digivolutions. In Magic the Gathering, you have those charge cards, so that also level cards. And, like, those are some great things that have happened over the years. And entering short, I mean, starting a card game, cool, but Elder Scrolls doesn't bring enough to the field, I think, to justify picking it over Hearthstone. If you haven't been playing Hearthstone, jumping into Legends, cool, that's great. If you haven't been playing Hearthstone, why not? You can have it on your phone. I mean, seriously. If you're gonna play a card game, like, well, I don't want to play it on my computer. You can play it on your phone, you can play it on your tablet. I mean, you could actually even play it in person. It's a little trickier to play it in person because you'd actually have to print off the cards, but it could be done. Legends, the two fields are interesting. If they, like, let's see if we look up, do they have any cards that have field in their name? Or, let's see if I misspelled that probably. No. So, like, I don't see anything with it. Like, I don't think there is, because, like, the lane rules, we have, oh, field lane, shadow lane, special lanes. If there were cards that we could get some, like, oh yeah, this card is a flame Leviathan or something, and whenever this card is in a lane, the lane becomes a fire lane. And the fire lane means that any card in this lane, except for specific card, like except for cards with specific keywords or something, take damage. Or this is a light lane, so kind of like the opposite of a shadow lane. Like any card put in this lane will instantly lose all, like it instantly gets silenced or something. Like that could be so cool. And the fact that they didn't do that, the lane is what this game has going for it. You have two different lanes. You can front load attacks on one, front load defense on the other. You can try to hit in hard, get a couple of jabs, but the fact that they did nothing with the lanes, they did nothing with the lanes. And because of that, the strongest foot this game has is a gimped foot. It's a solid game on its own. You have these nice little combos, so you can actually go pure green, pure purple, pure blue, pure red, pure yellow, pure neutral. And you can combo green, blue, green, purple, purple, blue, any of those combos. And of course you can still use neutrals. And that makes this so great because, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is that? 5 to the power of 2 is 25 different deck types? Give or take? Yeah. About 25 deck types, if give or take the neutrals, because neutrals can be added into anything. But yeah, so like that's an amazing thing versus like Hearthstone, where there are 9 classes, and in Magic the Gathering, actually, like you can add as many cards as you want, so you can have like all 5 colors plus in there. But like this game is great, but I don't think it's enough. It's just the old-fashioned, not enough, soon enough. Like, too little, too late. And because of that, I can't suggest playing Legends. At the same time, Elder Scrolls Legends is free. Or is supposedly going to be free. Play the story, maybe get a couple of arena matches in, have fun. But I wouldn't suggest spending money on it. I can't say get invested into the Versus scene because in order to really get in depth into the Versus scene, you'd have to invest money. And if you're investing money into this, why aren't you just investing money into another card game with more cards and more people? Anyway, I've gone on too long. This rant kind of stretched out this episode quite a lot. So, I'll see y'all later. Have a nice day.